Hello from Mastermonio. I got Mr. Braden manning the camera today. Instead of me picking on him, he's going to be picking on me, making faces at me. Hey, today we're going to be talking about board breaking. Actually, to be more specific, board making. We're going to be having a belt promotion this weekend. First time I've ever done it on a video test. In other words, none of us are going to be together. So we're going to do a belt test, where you're going to do your test and they get your belt sent to you. And somebody yesterday asked me if they're going to get to break the board. And the answer is no. And I realize that makes some of you very sad. Now, at the time of your test on Saturday, I'm going to give you a solution to that. All right? I'm not going to tell you what it is today. It is definitely not as exciting as this particular video. All right? It is going to be much safer than the ideas I'm going to give you today. All right? This isn't really an idea. This is how things used to be done. Up until about, 3 or 4 years ago, every time you went to a tournament or a belt test, you had to go over to Lowe's or go over to Home Depot, buy yourself a big piece of wood. This is much shorter than it started, because this is like take number 6 of me trying to successfully get this video made for you. It hasn't been going very well. So I don't give up very easy. We're going to continue. This board used to be about this big, and you'll find out why in a minute. Go to Lowe's, get a board like this. I usually pick white pine, and I always pick through until I find the one with the least of these little knots, because you want your grain, that's this, to be as smooth and clean as you can. White pine, 1 inch thick. It says 1 inch, but it's really like 3/4 of an inch. All right, it's gonna be 12 inches across the grain, and then we'll talk about the cuts in a couple minutes. So 1 by 12 white pine is usually what I pick. If you get really into it, you can pick out your board and then take it to the board cutter. The guys and girls that are running that department will actually cut your boards however you tell them to, and you can leave with finished boards. Today we're going to talk about that a little bit more. In our school, you may have noticed that when we break boards, there's boards that are really paper thin like this, even thinner. I have really thin ones. And those ones are for little kids, birthday parties, and people who have issues with, let's say, bone density, all right? Coordination issues, anything. Those are to help us develop confidence. Believe it or not, you can get just as much confidence and just as much self-worth out of breaking a simple board as you can out of breaking the full-size boards. And the reason is because wood is strong. If it wasn't, I wouldn't have an entire house built out of it. All right? I don't know if people really realize that wood is used for building because it's stronger than steel in some cases, because it's very flexible while still being able to hold up heavy amounts of weight. It's just amazing. So if wood is so strong, why are we breaking it? Because we learned how, and there's a trick to it, and we can. That's why. All right? If you notice how the grain goes up and down on the boards, if you break along that grain, you're good. You break against that grain, it's not going to break unless you have a sledgehammer. In my fist, there's no sledgehammer. What do you do after you break the boards? Now, I can tell you in our house, we've got all sorts of boards hanging up on our wall with cool words like courage and challenge and awesomeness and humility and all those things, and they do crafts out of them. I found this one when I was getting ready, and this is, I found out this is Miss Tegan, which then as soon as Miss Ellie saw this, she wanted to make sure she showed me hers. So, making crafts 101 out of broken boards. That's outstanding. All right, so let's get back on track here. To make your boards, you get your board, you end up coming in. I'm going to talk about this right here. Age 9 to 13. You've got a 6-inch cut. That'll be about that wide, and I don't have one here that's 6 inches, so it's going to be about that big. That's how big 9-year-olds and 13 to 13-year-olds break. Add 2 more inches onto that, make it 8 inches with the grain, and now you've got a board that a 13 to 17-year-old is going to break. And then once we get to be the adults, you've got the 10-inch board. All right, now we need to imagine that this board is actually 12 inches across. So 12 inches, where's my thing here? 12 inches across the grain. That is the required size. All of our boards are 12 inches across. All right, the rooster doesn't agree. He's always following us. All right, but then with the grain needs to be 6 inches, 8 inches, or 10 inches. All right. Once you get it cut and you get it all set up, then the next thing you want to do is get ready to break. And we have another video we're going to post on how to hold a board. And before you even consider breaking a board, I want you to understand that if you're getting ready to break a board at home and I haven't taught you how to do it, stop. You shouldn't do it. All right? If you're getting ready to break a board at home and you're not 100% sure of what you're doing, you should pick up the phone and call me. We may want to talk a little bit. We may want to even have a video conference to make sure what you're doing is safe. I mentioned before, wood is very strong. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you're somebody who thinks you can conquer the world, and I've seen it all, right? One of the reasons why there's only a few people allowed to hold boards for me at the school is because, especially young kids, you get them ready, you think they're going to hit with that palm heel, and you say go, and they go, oh, cool, yeah. And that hand, when it hits this way, I have an x-ray to prove to you what it looks like on my own arm, because I did it by mistake once. All right? Not good. Bad things happen. So, that's your warning. I'm telling you, don't do it. If I have you ready to do it, outstanding. Let's hear about it. I want to talk to you about it. But if you do it without talking to me and without actually knowing what you're doing and you break something, don't send me the doctor bill. I'm not going to pay it. All right? So, let's get back to this. We're actually going to go ahead and cut this. Mr. Braden's going to let you see me do this. I bought this at the store. I have my own workshop, so I'm going to actually do my own cut. You don't have to. You can have them do it. I'm going to mark 10 inches. Remember, 6 inches here. That is for the 9 to 13-year-olds. 8 inches, 13 to 7. And then you got 10 inches, 18 and above. And again, we're going to pretend this is 12 inches long. Right there. All right. Put down this. Put on your safety glasses. I'm going to use my own glasses. Now, you should put on hearing protection. But we're going to go right through this today. And you can yell at me for not having mine in today. All right, and there we have our board. All right, and again, 12 inches across the grain. If you can see which way the lines go, that's the grain. All right, so 12 inches this way, and then 10, 6, or 8 inches that way, with the grain. Now, again, watch the video on how to hold the boards. There's right ways and wrong ways, and one of the quick things I can tell you is don't have your fingers following the grain. Always have your fingers across the grain, no matter which way you're holding the board. That's just the first little note. All right, so with that, let's have Mr. Braden come back over here and zoom in on these measurements one more time for you. And with that said, we're going to say hasta la vista. Hope you learned something today. If you want to make some boards and you want to talk about it, get me on the phone. If you have questions, let me know.